So welcome everyone. Tonight we're going to be doing number 7 of the healing process, which is pretty much the end as of now. And the last one is to mend the hurt by helping others. It's an interesting concept, but basically everything we learned in the past few weeks about the inner child, how to be there for it, to listen, understand. Now by doing it to others helps us. By being there for, let's say it's your child or somebody, a different relationship, could be a coworker or it can be even an adult. But by being there and not becoming triggered or being able to listen, to validate, or all the steps that we learned, if you can do it to others, basically that's a healing for us because we're becoming aware of our own things that we need to heal. And it helps the other because you're actually there listening, which till now, the problem might have been that being emotional neglect, there was no one there to listen to. But now we have a few more people that can listen. And slowly we can heal one person at a time. But it's really healing our own, what we need to heal, by being there for others. So that's mending the hurts by helping others. So these were the seven steps that we discussed the past few weeks of how to heal the inner child, how to become aware of our inner child. And basically, the last step, what we're going to do tonight is mend the hurt by helping others. So for those who are with us, are more aware, but for those who are not, the recordings are available on menachembernfeld.com in the top left. But basically, what we discussed is that inside of us, inside of every one of us, there is that inner child. And looking back to see how the relationship with that child, our relationship, how we grew up, what kind of adults were in our life, whether it's teachers, parents, or any social surroundings, what beliefs we picked up. And like I always mention, that if somebody went through real trauma, to do this by yourself is very hard. It does open a can of worms. And many people are in therapy just to be able to sit and look back, see where do I come from? Why do I think the way I think, feel the way I feel? Or maybe I don't feel, which we've discussed. Not aware of our emotions, because it's easier to shut down the emotions when going through a hardship or any trauma. When we're young, we decide subconsciously to shut it down so that we can continue. So we're not so much aware. So many of us, had a hard time finding that inner child. But being able to be there for our children or for ourselves, now when we're older, we need to become aware of the emotions again. So it does open a can of worms. For those who need to do it with somebody else, I would not recommend doing it by yourself, which it could be hard. But becoming aware, for those who feel that the upbringing was pretty good, there were some ups and downs, obviously. I don't think anybody could say every day was perfect. And if you do feel that way, we need to sit and talk, because there's no such a thing as perfect. There are ups and downs. We all have ups and downs, and we need to become aware of the downs, feel the downs, so that we can become aware of the ups and feel the ups. So that's feeling the emotions, and so we can do it for ourselves, and then we can do it for our kids. what we're looking for is also to break the cycle, because sometimes we don't even realize that we picked it up from our parents and then we give it over to our kids. Not that we consciously want, but that's how we are. And we don't see difference. So the way we grew up, sometimes we just give it over. So becoming aware of it is the first step. So these are the 5 steps that we discussed. And many times the beliefs that we picked up are from very young age, especially till 8 years old. Kids are like sponges. They don't have that conscious that we have now. They're just taking in whatever happens, and they're around the adults, the parents. If the parents have a hard time, certain traumas, then it can go over to the kids. And again, even if you're not aware, we all want to be good, and our parents did their best. But looking back, they went through their things. And here we are discussing our things, seeing how we're giving over to our kids. Some ideas of fears, for example. Some people are scared to travel, scared of dogs, height, or it could be subtle anxieties, something that we don't even talk about, or our parents didn't talk about. It could be anxiety of money or social skills or different things. So by becoming aware of it, so it's interesting, because if our parents had those fears, even though they didn't want to give it over to us, and if we have it, we don't want to give it over to our kids, but by the words we use, by the way we react, and subconsciously they pick it up. It's interesting. And the best way to prevent the kids from getting it is, number one, to be aware of what are our fears, what are our triggers, where are we with these ideas. And just by telling a child, don't go to the park, there might be some dogs there. So you didn't say anything about a fear. You're trying to tell your kid that they should be careful, but what does the child pick up? There's some fear around dogs. And to heal that, healing, a lot of people are in therapy to heal their fears, and just having some exposure can help. Find somebody who has a lovely little dog, and you slowly, you veer, and your pet, you can touch it, and your kid looks how you do it, and slowly they become comfortable. And it's not like you're telling your child, don't be scared, don't be scared. By you saying the words, don't be scared, you know what they hear? All they hear is scared. They don't hear, don't be scared. Oh, you don't have to be scared. I'm telling you not to be scared. And you're moving away. You're like jumping away, but you don't have to be scared. It's so nice. It's so lovely. All they hear is scared. You see how the messages come out, and not in the way that the parent wants. There's an interesting, I read from a therapist. Her name is Debbie Pincus. And she shares on one of their sites called empoweringparents.com. So she shared an example of her own life. When she was growing up, her mother was very busy, that you need to have friends and to be popular, to go out, be social, because her mother didn't have that when she was a child. So she always spoke about it. Now, when this Pincus had her first child, she started worrying about his social status, to see how he is gonna, friends. She used to keep track, how many friends does he have? She didn't tell him, but she was always worried about it. She became very concerned, and she wanted to make sure that in school he plays with friends. So one day she decided she's gonna go down to the school and look by the fence to see how he's doing socially. And lo and behold, what do you think she saw? She sees her son standing on the other side, all the way on the other side of by the fence, all by himself. and all the whole group of boys running around on the other side. She couldn't take it. She just couldn't take it anymore. So she went into the playground. She went there. She went to speak to her son. And she says, "What's going on?" So her son says, watch out, Mom. I'm the goalie. Watch out. So he was standing over there by himself, just waiting for everybody to run with the ball. But all she saw was my child is by himself. And I knew he's having problems socially. So that's when she realized that what she got from her mother, she had that fear and giving it over to her child. And she just ends off, for the record, her son is older now and has plenty of friends, and he's doing great. But just to realize how the fears and ideas, beliefs that we maybe got from our parents, and we maybe understand that maybe it's not a fear, but subconsciously we walk around with it. So the first step is to become aware of that part. Just become aware. What am I worried? Why am I worried? What's the triggers? And to sit down and journal, like we discussed, find some time to see what's behind that thought. Ask yourself a few times, why or what? What is it? Just to become aware, so we can become aware and slowly stop that cycle. So this is an example. Kids may start to become apprehensive about dogs if their parents start telling them to avoid the park, like we mentioned. And if you see dogs across the street, you might cross the street. You're not going to tell your kid, but you're just crossing the street just to be safe. And these are nonverbal cues, which little kids pick up. They can feel it in the air. And they say even, now what's going on with war, if somebody is there, then for sure, kids pick up how their parents feel. But even here, how much you're aware of it and how much you're scared and how you talk about it. And if you let your kids talk about it, which is very important, like we discussed, when they have a fear, are we there to listen to them? Or we dismiss it? Nah, don't worry. So like we mentioned, we were dismissing their emotions. What we're learning over here is becoming aware of our emotions. And if it comes up, we let it come up. If they have a fear, then they have a fear. It's not negative or positive. Don't push it away. Don't tell them, no, there's no reason why to be scared. They're scared. Listen to them. And the same thing can be with our inner child. If we feel scared about something, be there, listen, try to, listen to that, what comes up, to the thoughts and to the beliefs. So basically, we're going to go over just a few of the concepts that we've learned before, but this is really the last step of healing that inner child, of being able to listen to it and be there for it. And by being for others, you're helping yourself. So what can we do if whatever comes up for ourselves of any type of neglect? Over here, they mentioned emotional neglect, but any type of neglect that we had. So the first step is to learn to be aware of positive and negative emotions when you're experiencing them, which we mentioned before, just to let it come up, whatever emotions it is. And it's not always fun. Sometimes it does feel very uncomfortable. And that is the reason why till now, for many years, we did not want to look at it, which makes sense. Why look at the negative emotions? I don't want to feel it. But like we mentioned, if you shut down the negative emotions, it's not that you're shutting down only the negative emotions. You're shutting down the whole emotion side of yourself. Then you're missing some positives too. And then your whole vitality, feeling alive and healthy, is feeling emotions. So we become aware of the positive and the negative. We don't run away. And if somebody spent many years of their life disconnected from their feelings, In the beginning, the first few steps that we're learning here sometimes can be hard, but it's really just saying these words. This I like. This I don't like. This I like. In your mind, you don't have to go into it too deep. This is something I like. This is something I don't like. You don't have to take any action. Don't change anything. Don't jump. Don't do anything. Just be aware. And once you sit down and you learn how to focus, how to feel those little feelings that we have, even if you don't have words to it, which eventually we learned, you name it to tame it. What's the fear? Overwhelmed, what it is. And if we didn't grow up with it, it can be very hard. So we need to learn it so we can give it over to others that we interact with. Step number 2, become aware of the needs that you have and take steps to meet them. So many adults who experience neglect, especially emotional neglect as children, are often unaware of what they need, and even deeper, they feel that they don't deserve. They don't deserve to get their needs met, so they're not in touch with their needs. Because if I'm in touch with my need and I feel I don't deserve, that's very painful. So might as well tell myself, I'm fine. I don't have any needs. But that's so sad. Everybody has needs. That doesn't mean we'll be able to, if it's something big, maybe you can't do it, but just become aware of the needs. You develop a connection with those feelings of things that you want. And I often tell people, go out and buy yourself a coffee, buy yourself an ice cream. They look at me like I'm crazy. Why do I need a coffee? Why do I need ice cream? What do you want from me? You don't have to do that. You do something else, but do something different out of your routine, something for yourself. No one has to know about it. And many are not aware of, I don't know what you want. I really don't need anything. I'm fine. I'm good. So sometimes that can be shut down. Sometimes you're in a low mood. Talking about moods, many people are not aware that they have moods. Low moods and high moods, ups and downs. We don't want to feel that low mood. But this is part of life. There's ups and downs. Sometimes we feel in the blue. We feel a little bit, under the weather. Could be emotionally, which is fine. Becoming aware of these needs, becoming aware of ourselves, those feelings that we have. Why is it so important? It's important for ourselves because we don't want to deny, and all of these feelings are messages telling us things about ourselves, our surroundings, and so we can stop the cycle, so that we can talk about emotions, so that our kids, the people around us, can be open with their emotions, so that not everybody is closed, shut down, and everybody has to do what's right. And it's like robotic. We need a little bit of humanity back. Number 3. So if you find yourself, you believe that you don't deserve, okay, don't be harsh. Just acknowledge that feeling, that belief is just a belief. If you believe you don't deserve, it's a belief. Beliefs are picked up, are learned from somewhere. And if it's learned, we can unlearn it. It's not a fact. So that's a very important piece. If you find yourself with interesting thoughts, negative beliefs, just be aware that it's a belief. That itself can take off a brick of your head. Till now you thought that that's a fact. I don't deserve. But it's not a fact, it's a belief. And slowly we need to become aware of the beliefs that we have. Many of them are negative, many of them are just a belief that we picked up. And become aware of those emotional needs that we do deserve. There's no reason why we don't. You're not different than anyone else. I know you might think me, maybe not. Everyone, yeah, me not. That's a belief, something that we picked up. And like everyone else on the planet, you have emotional needs that you deserve to have met, no matter what you experienced in the younger years or what you experience till today, or what that voice is saying in your head. Slowly we become aware of those voices so that we can talk back and say, wait a second, what is that? You're telling me I don't deserve? Why? Why? Becoming aware of it, just become aware of it. And to be gentle and slowly taking steps to take care of ourselves so that we can do it for others and understand their emotions so we can help them. Adults who experienced neglect as children often have difficulty with self-care. Like I mentioned before, an ice cream, a coffee, or just anything small. Take care of yourself. Have a few minutes in your day just for yourself. What are you going to do then? I don't know. You have a few minutes. Not at work, not on your phone, not with your kids, not with your family. You're all by yourself. A little bit of self-care. I do want to mention that it brings us back to the first few weeks that we discussed. It's hard to spend some time with ourselves because then negative emotions come up. A lot of negative emotions can come up. So might as well stay busy. Just continue with my routine, which is pretty comfortable. I know what I do every day, and this is what I'm doing, and let me continue. So I always say, for some people, that's fine. I don't want to open the can of worms. Let them continue, and there might be a lot of hardships, a lot of real hard trauma going on when they were younger. So they're doing good, they're functional, they're not staying in bed. So why open the can of worms? Let them continue. However, if you feel there's something missing, you want more, you feel like you're running a rat race, you can't sit down and relax. So that's when we slowly start talking about these ideas of spending some time with yourself, which brings up negative emotions too, because it's inevitable. It's the positive and the negative. So when we discuss self-care, find some time with yourself. Be aware. It might be hard if it's the first time you're doing it. Try to treat yourself with something, but be gentle. If you don't like it, don't push. Be compassionate, and mainly not to be judgmental. Say, you see, I can't. You see, I can't. You see, this is what I heard Menachem talk about, and I can't. There's something about. Just relax, take it easy, smile. We're becoming aware. Just become aware of these things, and slowly we can take steps to heal that inner child. And we always have to remember that this is a process. But the main thing for tonight is that by being there for other people in our life, if you can be the one to just sit and listen, you can listen. It's like looking at that person and listening to their inner child. If they share something, just listen. You validate. Don't run away. Don't dismiss. You validate what they're feeling. And then if you can, try to help them. Why? Ask them why. What do you mean? Ask them questions so they can continue talking. And just holding that space for them. If we can do it for others, it's healing for ourselves too. It basically brings in a new energy into the room, which many times when somebody shares, the energy is stop. We don't want to go there. That it hurts. Be quiet. Let's just continue. And then we learn that it's not healthy to be aware of our emotions. So might as well shut down. And many of us come from there. But here that we're learning to open up, to relax, to sit, become aware, listen, be there, open that space, not to feel threatened. It's okay to feel. Nothing is going to happen. It takes, like we mentioned, between 60 and 90 seconds usually. If you can let it come up and let it go. Emotions usually come and go like the waves. But if we're not aware of that, we become stuck. And sometimes people can be in a few days feeling down. It's because they need to learn the process of letting the emotion up, understanding where it comes from, and slowly you can let it go. And if you can be there for that child or that person in your life, so that you can be there for them and for yourself. It's healing for ourselves and healing for them. Brings in that new energy, and it slowly breaks the cycle of what many of us have picked up, that it's not okay to feel, that it's not important. We need to be logical. Let's not talk about emotions. And then people can even become sick because they don't let their emotions come up, the feelings. And by doing that, slowly we're healing, bringing a new energy, starting a new cycle, and helping the world one person at a time, which is myself and the person around me. If I can do it to others, I can learn how to do it to others and myself. So that's it for tonight. And that basically covers those 7 steps that we've done in the past few weeks. The 7 steps to heal our inner child, how to heal and release those feelings, let it come up, to become aware of the relationship of ourself and our inner child, whether it's positive or negative, it's okay. Let it come up, let it talk. It might take time. But by doing that, we can slowly go to a new stage. And in Mitzvah Hashem, next week, we will go back to what we discussed before, the inner child. But now that we have the concept of the inner child, it's a very important piece because it does come up. When talking about ourselves, what's going on, what are our triggers, what we picked up when we were younger, that's the inner child. So it's very important to be in touch with our inner child. And I would recommend we continue with the practice, like we mentioned. Spend some time with your inner child, meet your inner child. For those who watched the past few weeks, we had some guided meditation, which we hopefully will do in the upcoming weeks, but to help you slowly meet that inner child, to meet those feelings that come up, so that we don't feel triggered, we can be there, accept it, and not push it away. So that's it for tonight. If you want, you can share, or I ask you to please share in the chat if anything came up while I was talking tonight, or the past few weeks while learning these concepts. What's happening? Are you becoming aware? Is it hard? Is it easy? What comes up? I would really appreciate it. That's it for tonight. The recordings are available again, menachembernfeld.com on the top left. And for questions, feedback, you can send to coachmenachem@gmail.com. I always look at the feedback. The feedback is tremendous and amazing. Whether it's positive or negative, they're all accepted. Just to see what comes up, let me know what comes up so that I can see what to continue with in Mitzvah Hashem. Here we go. Yes, in Mitzvah Hashem, we will do guided meditation, but you can find the recording, which we've done before. Short and sweet meditation, just guided to take you into a safe place where you can find that little kid. And for some people, it's having fun, running around, and it's been waiting for you for many years. Happy to see you. And for others, it's angry. It's angry. It has a very hard time. It's not sure. That inner child is not sure if you want to listen to it. After all those years, that when it tried sharing, you weren't there. Now there's no blame over here. We understand why we weren't there, we weren't capable of being there, because it was painful. The same way, we don't want to feel those emotions. So why should I sit and listen to that inner child? But now that we're learning, emotions are okay. Nothing is going to happen. It sometimes doesn't feel good. So I can be there and listen. And that's how we can listen to our kids. If our 7-year-old shares or a 12-year-old shares about their emotions, we can learn how to listen and not tell them, oh, don't talk about it. It's too, or there's no reason to be scared. Thunderstorm going on outside. I am so scared. My daughter shared with me in camp, there's a thunderstorm. In camp, in the mountains, thunderstorms are pretty scary. So the kids are running into the bunk. But what they do is subconsciously look at the counselors. Are the adults around us also scared? So then if they realize the counselors they're only 2 years older, they're also scared, then what are we going to do? We need somebody to protect us. But here's the interesting thing I do want to share. To be open with our emotions is important. It's part of bringing up new vocabulary, and it's talking about emotions, but not to show that we're losing it. Us adults, we're not losing it. We'll learn how to deal with our emotions. Before I started tonight, I told my daughter, I feel a little nervous. And she was laughing. Nervous? You're doing this for a while. But if she heard me saying I'm nervous, but I was sitting there, didn't get lost. So wait a second. Adults also get nervous. So that when I feel nervous, so when the child, they can say in their mind, I can also feel nervous. That's okay. What should I do when I feel nervous? Who said you need to do something? It's being aware of it. Understanding why I feel nervous. Well, I'm going to give a presentation. Isn't that amazing? Beautiful. And that's the reason why many people don't give a presentation. Or before I started, that was the reason why I didn't start, because I was scared of being nervous. And you see how our feelings can hold us back. But we do have to bring back some emotions, the human side of the adult into the room, so the kids can learn that they're not crazy. When they feel those emotions, when they feel whatever they feel, it's normal. And another example would be Rebbe in the class. Could be I shared it. Had a chasna last night, came home very late, very tired, and he makes himself a coffee, walks into the classroom with the coffee. Hopefully he'll be able to drink his coffee and be able to teach. And when he walks in, he trips and the coffee spills. So there can be two ways to react. Either, okay, open up the Chumash, V'daber Hashem, as if nothing happened. Wow. That's power. That's amazing. I'm not going to show them what's really going on inside of me. Or the Rebbe could say, he can share with the class, I was tired. I had a chassan and I was hoping, let's clean it up. Maybe I'll take one later. What did they hear? They heard a little bit of humanity, a little of human. Now, I get pushback when I say this. When I share this, many people push back. No, Rebbe's teachers shouldn't open up to the class. They should not. So it's a debate. It's something to discuss. Should they open up or not? What I think is, if they have control, if they understand the class, that the class understands them, don't do it on the first day of class, obviously. But if you have your class, you share with them a little bit of emotions, human. And if it's too hard to say it on yourself, share a story about somebody else, but bring it in, talk about it. Thank you very much. And thank you for coming. And Miss Shem will see you next week. Have a good night, a great night. Feel whatever comes up and enjoy it. Thank you.